Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, I thought I answer what most people are talking about on Twitter tonight. And that is Bitboy's call for Bitcoin's top for end of September. So here's my response. Is Bitboy right? Is Ben right? Is Bitcoin's top coming in less than 2 weeks? Well, let me tell you what I'm thinking. So, thanks for tuning in. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Although I am late, usually on weekends, but that's okay. That's why you have the notification bell. Hit that to get notified. And follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news articles and guides at CryptosRUs.com, including the new Holler's Herald, which is a brand new newsletter. So if you want to get up to date on all the latest news from the previous week and videos and articles, make sure you subscribe to that newsletter. It's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. All right, guys, welcome. I see more and more people joining members or becoming members of this channel. I appreciate it. It is something new that I started, and I do appreciate it. All right. So, let's get started. Let's look at Bitcoin. It's at 47.8, so a little bit lower than this morning, but this weekend so far has been good. Friday nights, things start coming up. Saturday, now things have come up a little more. Sunday, tomorrow. Let's see what happens. It could be good things. Good things. 50,000, could be right around the corner. Next week, we'll be heading into futures and options expiration, so it'll definitely be an interesting week. We could see some volatility next week. It does not mean that volatility is bad necessarily. It could be good things coming. But with that said, all right, let's just get to it. So what is going on with this tweet? Now, this video, the point of this video is not to bash Bitboy or Ben. No. I've always said I support Ben. He's helped me quite a bit. Earlier this year, he helped me cover F2 Pool, and I do appreciate him for that. And I do think he is one of the biggest YouTubers on, that talks about crypto. He does educate a lot of people within the space. So this is definitely not a video to bash Ben. However, this is what a lot of people is talking about. This is something that a lot of people have asked me, not just today. People have asked me in the live chat, like, hey, what do you think about, Bitboy's prediction that the top is coming within the next few weeks by the end of September? And here's my response. I just don't see this. Now, if this comes true, then you know what, Ben, he's a fortune teller, or his sources are fantastic. Okay, but out of this, I do think one thing that he said is accurate and that is important, and that is to take profits. Okay, and I'm gonna get to that at the end of this. But do I think that the top is coming September 27th or within 2 weeks? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I just don't see it. In fact, I say that is very, very, very off. And I do think that we have a really good chance that we don't actually end this bull run in 2021, that we could actually continue into 2022. I do think there's a lot of reasons to think that, but let me talk about why I don't think Bitcoin's top is coming September 27th. So let's just start out with the reserves. Bitcoin reserves on the exchanges. This is usually a good indicator whether or not Bitcoin is getting more scarce, okay? Whether or not there is a lot that's being deposited or inflowing, or, it's being removed, outflowing, right? And recently we have seen a lot of outflowing, which is why the reserves, you can see right now, is very, very, very low. It's lower than, than, what was it? The low point here was about, April of this year, right? When Bitcoin's about 64,000. It started dropping then, and then of course it did climb up, but it just started dropping like a rock, and this continues to go down. If you compare this to Bitcoin last year, of course you could see last year it was much higher, and if you compare it to previous years, it was also much higher. So number one, the total amount of reserves of Bitcoin on exchanges is dropping. Okay, and the more it drops, the more it indicates that people and institutions and companies are buying it and taking it away from the exchanges, which makes it more scarce, which means that regular Joes like you and I, if we need to trade the amount that's on exchanges, there's just not as much. Okay, and right now you may be thinking, well, no, that's ridiculous. There's so much on exchanges. Yeah, but that number keeps dropping more and more and more. And eventually, when it drops to a point where it's so scarce to trade Bitcoin on exchanges, that's when it's too late to get in. That's when Bitcoin will be above like $1 million. So right now, obviously, the number, the floating and the circulating supply of Bitcoin out there definitely has effect on the price. And what we're seeing is the reserves is dropping. Okay, so that is very positive. And just to show you, it's the same thing with Ethereum too. Ethereum is also dropping. You could see there, right? So number one, you have the net flow of Bitcoin coming out and Ethereum coming out, both coming out drastically, which is why reserves is coming down. So that's number one. What about other things? Like, for example, you have on-chain metrics or models like the stock to flow, which, when applied to Bitcoin has been pretty darn accurate in terms of predicting tops, predicting bottoms, right? And if you look at our current model right now, or this model right now at this current point in time, it's obvious that we are not near a top, right? Traditionally in the past, Bitcoin has seen blow-off tops, very explosive blow-off tops before coming down. We are not coming off a blow-off top right now. We're nowhere close, okay? After coming down from 64,000, right, we hovered for months, and now we just started coming back, right? So we didn't have a blow-off top event. If we're sitting at like 150,000 right now, and we've been climbing every single day, and maybe then I would just say, well, okay, that maybe a correction is coming in the next 2 weeks. But no, we didn't have that. Nowhere close to it. So that is also another indication that the top is not in. We didn't see anything like that. And if you look at this, which measures days until the next halving event, because traditionally Bitcoin has been driven by the 4-year event. You could see that where we are now is like about a half to a little bit more than half of the previous cycle. And that was when things were, got really interesting. That's when Bitcoin went from 6,000 to 20,000, right? And we're not quite there yet. We're not even there yet. Okay, so again, another model like this that has tracked Bitcoin pretty accurately over the years. Doesn't mean that it has to stay accurate forever, but so far it's been pretty darn accurate. And this shows also Bitcoin is nowhere near that top event or a blow-off top, or it's basically indicating we're like about halfway through of this run right now. Also, something else, the logarithmic growth curve, and you could see that this is also pretty darn accurate. I believe Ben also uses something like, not Ben Armstrong, but Ben Cohen uses something called regression growth curve. It's similar in nature. Basically, it plots Bitcoin starting from beginning to now, and you could see that Bitcoin's price is right about in the middle, nowhere near the top, right? You could see here's a top event, here's a top event, here's a top event, and right now we're nowhere close to the top event, which would put Bitcoin around $130,000, $140,000, $150,000, which is where I think it's going to end. So if you look at something like this, which is just using moving patterns and applying it on a grander scale to Bitcoin's time frame, and you take into account diminishing returns, you put all that together, it's nowhere near the top. So you have some major metrics like this that models that shows that Bitcoin's just not, it's just not close. It's just not close yet. What else is there? Well, I was looking at something like this. Actually, I showed this yesterday. If you're looking at a chart, if you're a chartist, you're a TA guy, right? You look at 2013, 2017's run versus our current run right now. You could see again, we didn't have that blow off top event. We didn't have that tremendous rise yet. And that's because we still have 3.5 months remaining for this year, for 2021. So, again, we're not coming off a blow off top event. Again, if we're like 150,000 or something like that, and we just like shot up, I'm like, okay, yeah, then that makes sense. Maybe we're gonna have a correction, but we just didn't have that. In fact, we're still trying to recover from our local top at 64,000. So it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And also, something that happened recently that's very bullish is the Golden Cross. The Golden Cross just formed just a few days ago, and the Golden Cross traditionally is very, very, very bullish for Bitcoin, on a TA scale. The last time Bitcoin formed the Golden Cross was down here when Bitcoin was below 10,000, and it went up 600% since then, right? We had a death cross over here. It was very short, and now we're in a Golden Cross again. So things like this also indicate that Bitcoin is about to make a tremendous run. Same thing with MACD on some of these grander time scales. On the weekly, MACD flipped over to the green. And so again, from a technical standpoint, if you're looking at the longer term indicators, they're all pointing that Bitcoin is going to continue much, much further. Okay, what about some of the more fundamental things besides models and charts and reserves? I mean, what else is there? Well, I mean, who's buying Bitcoin? Well, according to JP Morgan, institutional investors, right? Institutional investors and also Fidelity. They did a poll recently. 52% of institutional investors hold Bitcoin and crypto. So institutional investors are still coming in. In fact, there's more and more that's coming in. So the buying is from the big boys, and they continue to buy. And, retail FOMO didn't really start yet. You could tell. Retail FOMO did not hit yet. Retail FOMO, when it's here, when like everyone all your friends, family, coworkers, your social media, platforms, if everyone starts talking about Bitcoin, that's when FOMO's here. It's not. It's not here at all. People have heard of Bitcoin, but not a whole lot of people is FOMOing. And you can also tell by doing a Google search trends search, and you type in buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin. It's nowhere near the tops that we have seen previously. So FOMO didn't even hit yet. But we know it's going to come whenever there is a blow-off top event or a tremendous rise. That always happens, and that hasn't happened. So right now, we have institutions, public trade companies, venture funds, hedge funds. They're all buying, and I've shown many metrics that also show that. And this is also the reason why the reserves of Bitcoin is also dropping. And besides that, we also have countries, right? That's jumped in and embracing. In fact, El Salvador's Chivo app now crosses 500,000 users. Now, El Salvador is not the biggest country on the earth, but they are the first to embrace Bitcoin fully as legal tender, and their users are starting to go up. And other countries are taking note. They're paying attention. Ukraine also legalized Bitcoin, and many other countries have done the same thing. So this is the start. So again, this just started. You have countries that just started, and the citizens just started embracing Bitcoin. And this is also pretty big going forward. You're going to have millions and millions and millions of users that's coming on board, right? Coming on board and utilizing Bitcoin, not only as a payment system, but as a store of value, but also as a remittance service too, because there's many countries out there that does have a lot of citizens that are unbanked, without banking accounts and so forth, and they're using crypto for remittance. So again, this is very early. So again, another reason why I don't think Bitcoin is nearing a top. Also, you have, I mentioned about big VCs and hedge funds. I mean, you have ARK Invest, Kathy Wood, that continues to believe in Bitcoin, keeps buying Bitcoin and throwing it in her ETFs. And not only that, according to this, it's also Ether too. So you know how Ether's or Ethereum's reserves dropping? It's the same thing. These big boys, they can't get enough and they keep buying more Bitcoin, and now they're buying Ether too. And, even someone like Ray Dalio, who has said cash is trash, makes a case for crypto and even admitted recently that he owns Bitcoin. Even though he says he's still scared of regulations, but he himself owns Bitcoin. There's like literally no one that's a economist or a billionaire or some kind of famous person from Wall Street. Literally no one says that they don't own Bitcoin. Maybe just Peter Schiff, but he's not even from Wall Street. But every single person you could think of that's well known, that's influential, that's a billionaire, that's really rich, or has been in finance or economy, for a long time, they all own Bitcoin because they see it as the new gold, as a hedge against inflation, and as something that's a speculator. I can't even say it. It's a wealth generator. Let's just put it that way. So there's that too. I mean, so you add all this up. Oh, I forgot one last thing. Two other things. Hash rate of Bitcoin continues to come up because miners continue to spin up more mining machines and they continue to mine more and more and more. So miners are not in a rush to sell, right? This event that we had was a one-in-a-lifetime event where China kicked out most of their miners, right? It's okay. Bitcoin's network survived and everyone else is embracing it and spinning up more machines. And that's why you can see the hash rate is coming up in a big way, almost in a V-shaped recovery. And take a look at this, the number of unique wallets out there. This number continues to rise up, right? And this is only in the millions. We have billions of people out there. So this also is showing that there's a lot of people that's coming in too. I should correct myself. This is only the wallets on blockchain.com, not total wallets out there. But this does show you that the number of wallet addresses is also increasing. And if you look at it on a grander scale, I'm sure it's similar where you go see it go up, right? So I said a lot there. So to sum up, do I think Benner's right about Bitcoin reaching a top by September 27th, by the end of September? No, I don't think he is correct. I do think that there's just so much going for Bitcoin right now. I just don't see it. You see the reserves dropping. You see the institutions that are buying. You see the wallet addresses and mining hash power going up. You see countries and their full embracement of Bitcoin, right? You see, you look at the models. You correlate what's going on now versus before. You look at some of these models like stochastic flow and logarithmic growth curve. You add it all together, and it's pretty clear to me that Bitcoin still has a lot of room to grow. A lot of legs left. And like I said at the beginning, we may have that blow off top event, the next 3 months, the Q4 of this year, we may have that. Or we have something where we don't have that, but Bitcoin just continues to go up and up and up because of everything that is going on. And this could very well carry into 2022, right? So I think it's one of two events. I definitely think Bitcoin and the rest of the markets will continue on. We're not going to see that top anytime soon. However, I will say, like I said at the beginning also, there's one thing right here that Ben says that's very important. That is to take profits, right? Now, he is saying take profits off the table if you aren't agreeing. That almost sounds like he's telling you to take all your profits out. I don't know if that's what he means exactly. I don't agree with that. In fact, even for me, even if we do have a blow off top, I've said I'm not going to sell everything. No, I'm going to be a long-term holder, right? I made mistakes in the past where I wasn't, and that costed me dearly. And I do believe Bitcoin and crypto is the future. So taking profits, I think is important. As we go higher and higher and higher, I do believe it's important to take some money off the top, so that you have profits and you can lock them in. You have your cash on the side. And that's important because if we do have a correction, a major correction, then you could take advantage. You could buy the dips. I've always tell you guys, buy the dips and hodl. Buy the dips and hodl, right? And so many of you guys say, well, I can't buy the dips because I'm all in already. Well, then that's the problem, right? Then you got to make sure you have some cash on the side. And you never want to panic sell. And of course, you don't want to sell at a loss. So what you do, you wait until you have profits, then you sell it, then you hold on to some of that, right? So that's what I plan on doing as we get higher and higher and higher and higher. I'm going to take some profits, right? And there's no set schedule of when you should do it, how much you should do it. The main thing is to make sure you have an appropriate amount of cash on the side to be able to take advantage. So I think taking profits is important, but I don't plan on selling at all. I've heard people saying, I'm going to sell everything. I'll wait for the dip or whatever. I just plan on having enough cash on the side to be able to buy the dip. But for the rest, I'm just going to keep it all and just let it go. Let it go because I think this is still very early. Very, very early. I don't know if you guys remember, back in 2017, 2018, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. After we came down from 2020, right? From 20,000, we hit 3,000, went up to 14,000, hit 3,000. Then we went sideways before we started coming up, right? So during this time, it seemed like, wow, it's like forever, right? It felt very miserable that Bitcoin, seems to have like localized here, dropped some more. A lot of this was due to, due to Mt. Gox and that lawyer selling off a whole bunch of Bitcoins to pay for things. So this actually, I think, was caused by that. But regardless, if it was or not, right? I know during this period was painful. Coming up was great. Coming through this is the COVID-related one. That was painful, right? But if you think about it, on the grand scheme of things, right, it's only been 4 years. It's only been 4 years. And so many of you guys have responded to me saying, George, I've listened to you. I continue to do DCA. I held, and now I've made so much money, right? So that's what I stress because people tend to want to rush things, especially newcomers in. They want to make quick money within a few weeks, a few months. They want to get out, right? But the ones that truly made money the most are the ones that DCA'd even on the way down or bought the dips like over here or over here. That's where having cash is important, right? That's why I've said I'm going to take profits on the way up. But for everyone else that continued to DCA here throughout all this, now getting back to where we are, they have made 10x, 20x, 30x, and many altcoins, they formed so many new highs within 2021. It's hard to keep track, right? So that is why I plan on holding, because if we do continue to come up, right, and we see Bitcoin go up past 100,000, go to 150,000, and maybe even higher than that, right? If we do have a blow-off top event where Bitcoin just goes up and up and up, and it's going to come down, that's when, you should take some profits. But even if it comes down and you follow the same strategy, you hold old DCA, it's going to come back up. And when next time, the next cycle could be going to 500,000 plus or 1 million plus, right? So you just don't know. And the environment in 2021 is so different than 2017. You may be thinking, well, that's just stupid, George. Why would you keep it when it's going down like this, right? There's no guarantees to go down like this. 2017, even though we went up so much, everything was speculation at that point. We didn't have Bitcoin ETFs, which exist now. We didn't have Grayscale as big as it is. We didn't have Michael Saylor buying as much as he did. We didn't have the biggest VCs and institutions buying into Bitcoin. No, it didn't happen. We didn't have the same kind of DeFi we do now. We didn't have the same kind of NFTs we do now, right? So, and the reserves were much higher back then. And the usage, adoption, everything was just so much lower before. So it is so different in 2021. That is why that's why I don't think a top is coming in 2 weeks. I really don't. Now, if Ben's right, then good. Good for him. He made the ultimate prediction. a Michael Burry kind of prediction, but I just don't agree at this point in time. So there you go. All right. So kind of ranting on a little bit with that. Is there anything else going on? Well, not really. I mean, overall, if you look at altcoins today, some are doing still fantastic. I've told you guys, like this morning, Solana was pumping, and it still is. I said it's probably going to get back to 170 again. It did hit it briefly before coming back down a little bit. So Solana is gaining traction again. Cosmos also still keeping that traction around $40, right? Up 16%. And you go down the list, Tezos is having a strong day too. Right now, what's pumping is all the network protocols. One after another. Near protocols up a little bit, but look at Deeper Network. I have no idea what happened to Deeper Network, but another protocol that's up 170%. I have to look into it. But right now, the name of the game is protocols, network protocols. And they're so hot right now because the dApps and NFT marketplaces are so hot, and they're all riding on top of them. Hey, Ecomi is also doing pretty well, right? I do actually have some news with them. Osmosis is doing well, which is within Cosmos' ecosystem. So, yeah, you got some strong movers today. And as for Ecomi and NFTs, right, they do have a few things going on. I've learned, right, first off, they did launch not too long ago AR Reader because they are introducing full-fledged comic books in NFT form, and you can read it straight from the Veve app. So that is new. Those of you guys that are into comic books or Marvel or DC, it doesn't matter because they own the rights to everything. Ecomi seems to own the rights for everything. So they are introducing that, which is a pretty big thing. And also other things like this DesignerCon, which is a conference for collectibles and toys and games, right? Ecomi is going to be an NFT vendor there as well. Could get a lot of attention. So Veve is doing well, or I should say Ecomi is doing well. Veve is getting popular, and there's a lot of NFTs that's happening. So glad to see that. But besides just Ecomi, there are so many other projects. OpenSeas is still exploding. I don't have a volume chart to show you guys, but man, NFTs are just so darn hot at this point. All right, lastly, before Q&A, I do have a new sponsor, and it is a project that's in gaming and NFTs. And I know, I'll bet you guys, 100% of you guys have heard of this company before, and they are Atari. Some of you guys may be aware or may not be aware, but Atari has their own chain, Atari Chain, and Atari has their own token called Atari Token. And this was created to be the one token and chain to support everything that deals with gaming. Okay, it could be esports, it could be metaverses, it could be just play to earn games, it could be simple classic games, all kind of games. And yes, that is what Atari Token and Atari is all about. So they know blockchain, NFTs is the future, and that is why they created this. And actually, they've been around. They've been around for a few months now, and they've been picking up. Some of you guys may have picked up some of their recent partnerships. For example, they have partnered up with Decentraland, and there's actually a casino. And yes, Atari is into gambling too. So they have launched casino with Decentraland, and they have launched casino parties with other players too, with other projects. So they're kind of into, they partner up with a lot of projects. Also, Sandbox, which is also Virtual World, does have an Atari theme park. And other NFT projects like Rev from Animoca Brands have also partnered up with Atari because they have other games that they have created that, has, what is it called? Night Driver and Fatal Run. They're motorsports games, so it makes sense to partner up with Rev. So you can see Atari has been busy. They have been partnering up with basically every gaming project out there, an NFT project to get themselves involved, right? So they're getting themselves involved. There's a lot more to come. and they are getting into gambling and esports. They're trying to get into that as well. And recently, some of you guys, I don't know if you guys picked this up, but Phantom picked up big, and Atari Chain also big because they decided to move to Phantom. So Atari Chain was and Atari tokens, ERC20 token, and they decided to move to something that's much faster, much more scalable, less fees, right? So they did make this move recently, not too long ago. So right now there's 2 tokens, but eventually they want to move completely to the Phantom network, which is also fantastic for Phantom, but this is something that I've done recently. And in terms of what else they have, well, they have a lot of stuff. They have their own wallet, so you can track Atari and all the tokens you have straight from their own smart wallet. So they have that out already. They have their own swap, which is right on their webpage. Their DEX, they have that already too. And they have a way for you to buy directly with them with a lockup period too, which is kind of interesting. They have that right on their website too. So there you go. I mean, there's a lot more to Atari. You can read the white paper, and they're basically getting themselves involved. Anything that deals with gaming, right? Metaverses, NFTs, they want to be part of it. So if you want to learn more about Atari, check them out. Their URL is in the description of this video. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Now let's do some Q&A. And while I've been talking, I'm seeing a lot of you guys, right? You guys may see in the live chat all the green, the new members. I do really appreciate it, just so you guys know. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, I scrolled up. I didn't, seems like there's not a lot of super chats I missed. Carson asked, do you think Chili's will be good? I hope they hit their NFTs off. You know, Chili's, it's just a matter of time to come out to NFTs. They're labeled as NFT player, but they're really not. They're about coming out tokens for sports clubs. They've onboarded so many NBA teams recently. They're getting themselves, of course, they have a lot of football teams or soccer teams, and they're trying to get more teams involved. And their ecosystem is growing. And all these sports tokens could be traded within their native DEX and traded within Binance, right? So they're going the right direction. And I do think that they're going to release NFTs in the near future. So I think that's a certainty. So yeah, I do like Chili's. I like them a lot. All right, scrolling down. People are asking about my NFTs. I did create I Am George #1 and #2. #1 sold pretty good. #2 did not meet the reserves. So I'm wondering if I should put it up again or I should just leave it. But I am itching to come out with I Am George #0003. So wait for it. What? Soldier Boy moving to Solana now. Yeah, Solana is attracting a lot of celebrities. I do see a lot of people moving on. I think mostly due to NFTs. Not so much that not that these celebrities really care about the chain. They care more about the NFT. So I do hear a lot about that recently. Someone says, I didn't get it. No, I Am George #2 didn't hit reserve, so I did not sell it. Yeah, people are saying there's too much negativity against Ben. I don't know. People, yes, I do agree. The purpose of this video is not to bash Ben. I said that at the beginning. I'm not bashing him. I just disagree with his opinion. I just don't think a top is coming within the next 2 weeks, right? So, like I said at the beginning, I appreciate Ben. I support Ben. He brings a lot of attention to crypto with his channel and with his social media. Right. This is not a stream to bash Ben by any means. I support him, and I really appreciate what he has done for me in the past. But this is one of those things where I just felt like I wanted to address it because a lot of people has been asking me, what do you think about Ben's prediction about Bitcoin's top coming in 2 weeks? I just don't agree with it. I just don't. What do you think about VThor? I think VeChain VThor is always go have a place in my heart. I've told you guys that. I've slept on VThor mostly because VThor is inflationary and VET is not. So I've always held more VET than VThor. But VThor has been doing pretty well as of late too. As of late, I would say in 2021. It has come up quite a bit. So yeah, I like VThor. I like VThor. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, just so you guys know, I stream twice almost every day, right? DCA tomorrow with me, James, and Rob. DCA is going to be on James's channel, Invest Answers channel. So I've tweeted that on Twitter, and it's going to be in the morning, 11:30. So this next month, we're going to try it where DCA is going to be on their channels. And before I go on, I'm going to tweet it, and you guys, you guys will be informed of it. But just want to let you guys know the schedule is going to change a little bit. Have you checked out Altera's NFT recently? Their first smart NFTs are out. Penguins that change based on the time of city they're in. I remember the project. I did a segment with them. And yes, they come out with NFTs that change. Like especially gaming items, right? So penguins that change based on time to city. That's pretty cool. I have not checked them out recently. Where are they now? And they're still really small. Market cap really small, but the good thing is they are climbing. Yeah, the good thing is they're climbing. Still a very, very small cap project. I'll have to look into them more. Let's see. Jesus, that is the right email. Why is this watching bed like watching an old man trying to get it up? Hey, patience comes to those who wait, right? Or who waits the longest. That was the same thing. 2017, it shot up very fast, came down. 2018, 2019, 2020 didn't move, and then it shot up in a big way. And it's the same thing with a lot. Cardano was the same way. Binance Coin is the same way. You just have to have patience. Someone asked about nulls. Nulls have not come up. I've supported nulls for a long time. I still continue to support them, although I have not been keeping track of what they've been doing. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you run a project, a crypto project, right? If you have the right traction, and sometimes it takes a bit of luck, then it catches on and continues going, right? You got the fans, you got the investors, you got people that just support it. But nulls, unfortunately, has not been able to get that traction. Maybe they will, but they just have not gotten it yet. That's everyone says great idea for better cross promotion. Yeah, that's the whole point. We'll go try on different channels and see what happens. PancakeSwap's NFT marketplace is next Wednesday. Wait, I lost it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Moss carbon credit, I have not looked into it. I know Gemini all of a sudden added them out of the blue, and it was really shocking. It doesn't even show up on here. I have to look into it. I don't know why Gemini added them, but I know it's a project that's about buying carbon credit to offset your I don't even know what it it offsets your carbon, pollution or something. I don't even know who uses it. I honestly don't know. So I just had to look more into it. Thoughts on where LTO is and their future potential. I just covered them recently. So they are basically rechanging their chain. I think they have a fantastic a chain already that's catering to GDPR, which is very important in Europe for basically rights of a citizen's data. But they're expanding, they're growing, they're trying to change their chain, not only catering to businesses but also to consumers. And with that change, they can get into many things that they don't have now, like AMMs, DeFi, NFTs, right? So they're going through like a redevelopment, and I think it could be very exciting once they're done. Have I ever been on around a blockchain once earlier? I don't like settings where there's too many people, and the one I was on, I forgot who was on. Crypto Crow was on, and someone and a few other people, but it wasn't for me, so I haven't been on since. Electronum, small cap, a nice pump. Yeah, they're really for the unbanked. So they're their Anytask micro gigs job site. That's pretty cool. But the app is all about just helping people that have no bank account, unbanked. DCA is going to be on Invest Answers website. Okay, Invest Answers. It's going to be tomorrow, 11:30 p.m. No, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. But I will tweet it out. Matt C., I appreciate you joining. I really do. Did you hear about did you hear about the lawsuit against CoinMarketCap? Apparently they're being accused of gatekeeping coins and pay-to-play list situation and not properly ranking. Look at top of page 3, for example. Weird. I did not hear that. CoinMarketCap is owned by Binance, so there's a lot of controversy because of that. Whether or not they put more weight towards Binance or Binance Smart Chain projects, I don't know. But they were having a lot of problems before, so that's kind of why I've moved to Live Coin Watch. But yeah. All right, last few questions. CryptosRUs, I don't know. Alexandra, I've never seen it before, so can't talk about it. Don't sleep on XYO. I think XYO is kind of interesting, location-based project. Thoughts on projects that combine decentralized, centralized tech like Blockbank? Well, I'm guessing it's a bank. There's a lot of projects that's like that, but I'm not a fan of banks that's decentralized, I guess. That's where DeFi comes in. Space Boy, appreciate that. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it. Wait, last one. Give a shout out to Abigail. Abigail, welcome or hello. All right, there you go. All right. Pond. Someone asked about Pond. I've kind of given up on it. That's supposed to be like a layer zeros, scaling solution for DeFi projects, but there's so many chains that are so fast now. It just seems like it's not even necessary anymore. So I don't know. Kind of giving up on Pond. All right, guys. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Do I think a Bitcoin top is coming in the next 2 weeks? No, I just don't see it. There's just so much good things that's happening right now with Bitcoin and so much things that is coming. I just think we're so early. We still have 3 months left in this year. We could have a blow-off top event, and that is, of course, an event you don't want to miss when everything goes crazy. And even if we don't have that, then we continue the run into 2022 and beyond. And a lot of people also predicted, this may be the last 4-year cycle we ever have. Of course, the halving events still go happen every 4 years. But in terms of this blow off top and an 85% dip, that may be the last one we had, maybe the last one we ever see in our lifetimes. So stay strong, my friends. Good things are coming. All right. Tune in tomorrow, DCA, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I'll tweet you guys. But in the meantime, have a good night. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.